Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a book review for you. I wanted to talk about Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. I read this book a couple of months back, and usually I talk about a book right after finishing it, especially if I've liked it, but I got a little busy around that time and I've tried writing a blog on it, but I just couldn't find the right words to make it interesting, so I thought it best to make a video for it. Before I tell you what the story is really about, I'd like you to know that this book is going to be a little difficult to talk about and a little difficult to review, despite the urge to say a lot about it, because I believe that this is one of those psychological thrillers that are best enjoyed when you don't know much about the story. But I will also like to tell you that this is one of my favorite reads so far in this year, and with just her debut novel, B.A. Paris is already one of my favorite authors. In fact, at the end of the book, when I wanted to know more about the characters and where do they end up and how do things follow from then on, I tweeted the author asking about it, and she replied with a very satisfying answer. So, this is a story about Jack and Grace and their marriage that seems nothing less than perfect. It's also about Grace's younger sister who has to deal with Down syndrome, who honestly is the smartest, and she's so clever thanks to her love for reading such great books. The story and the plot is twisted enough, but it does not make it unbearable to read, because you know how some psychological thrillers can get a little too difficult to read and pick up because they do get a little intense and heavy. But this one has managed to maintain the balance between being twisty but still being bearable, which is something that I really liked about this story. It is definitely a fast paced and a puppy read, and in fact, I remember finishing it in one day. I couldn't just put it down, I had to finish it just to know how it ends. It was really interesting, and I really wish that I had a physical copy of it because I love collecting books, especially the ones that I've loved. I actually bought an ebook from the Play Store, and the links to this book will also be down in my description box. So, just in case you feel like getting your own physical copy, I have the links below. So, the story isn't as suspenseful, but it manages to keep you intrigued enough, and you'd really want to know what happens next. In my case, you would want to know what happens even after the book has ended. So yeah, I think that's the most interesting part of the experience of reading this book. But also coming to the most frightening part, the fact that there's a high possibility that people in real lives have to go through what the protagonist in the story does. It's just really scary, it's really frightening, and it also makes me really sad. I don't want to give away too much about the books, I won't really get into it, but I'd really like to give you trigger warnings for assault and abuse. If you are uncomfortable reading about any of these, then I would not suggest you pick it up. But if it's not a problem to you, then I'd really recommend you this book because, like I said before, it's not really I did not see this coming book, but it does keep you intrigued throughout, and it's such a fast-paced book you wouldn't even know when you started and when you finished it. And I did read a couple of reviews where people say how unrealistic the story is, but just like I said right now, it's not as unrealistic because I have read articles where people do talk about their real life encounters as such, and they talk about all the things that they had to go through, which are similar to what the story talks about. So the story is definitely pretty much realistic. In fact, I remember watching an interview of B.A. Paris where she does talk about how she did her research work on this book, and she has some examples which do let you know that a lot of people do go through whatever the book talks about. So that's really scary, but the way she's written it and the way the characters evolved, I really enjoyed it. And despite it not being as suspenseful, I really do recommend it to you. If you're looking for a very good, fast-paced, pulpy psychological thriller, I think this one is something that you'd enjoy. I give it 4.5 stars, and I'm already excited for B.A. Paris's next book. And I made sure this time to get the physical copy, which is Breakdown by B.A. Paris. I believe she's working on a third novel now, but I'm really excited to read this. However, I haven't picked it up yet, mainly because I'm not really in a mood for a thriller right now. You know how you have to be in that specific mood to be in thriller. So I'm not there yet, but I will do update you on what I'm reading, and do let me know if you've read Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris, or if you are thinking of reading it, or if it's on your TBR for any time soon, and I'd love to discuss this story with you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. All the necessary links are down below in the description box, so do go check those out. And yeah, I will see you in my next one. Bye.